to Office Hours with Dr. G. I'm your host, Dr. G, and I'm so glad you could keep our appointment. Tonight we have an exciting show. We're going into the deep quantum metaphysical realm that some of you have been longing to delve into. Tonight we're going to do that. Tonight's guest, Audrey Rumbers, received her bachelor's degree in Interdisciplinary Studies from Wayne State University in 2008. She was employed at Wayne State University 26 years, including 20 years in the Department of Physics and Astronomy. Her unique experiences include serving as project coordinator and administrator for 2 quantum physics international research collaborations, the Relativistic Heavy Ion Collider, housed at Brookhaven Laboratory in Upton, New York, and a Large Hadron Collider experiment known as ALICE, a part of the Large Hadron Collider, LHC, housed at CERN in Geneva, Switzerland. Her experience with these projects opened a universe of possibilities and knowledge. Audrey is the creator of Audrey pyramids, which you'll hear about, her own form of organite. And she also studied ancient African cosmology, including ancient Egypt, in her spare time. She has appeared on several shows, including Lori Strayhorn and the Lance Scurv Show. I am so excited to have with us today on Office Hours with Dr. G, Audrey Rumbers, quantum metaphysician, who's going to discuss quantum physics and you. What's the connection? Welcome, help me welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. Tonight's guest, Audrey Rumbers. Welcome. So here's, I didn't tell you this. If the music is still playing, you gotta rock with me.
Oh,
you gotta rock. You gotta rock. Welcome to Office Hours with Dr. G. I am so excited that you could come on and discuss this exciting subject. I'm fascinated by quantum physics, and normally you don't see a lot of people, melanated people like us, that are in that realm. And before we get started, y'all know what to do. Hit that like, right? Share. Let somebody know that we're on, because this is something, I mean, I know they can see it in the replay, but it's nothing like being able to hear it live, because you may have some questions for Audrey, because I know I do, about quantum physics and me and what's the connection. Because Sis and I had some discussions, and she found out some amazing intel on actually what's going on in that realm. But before we get into all of that, Audrey, tell us about yourself and how a melanated sister like yourself got interested in quantum physics and astronomy.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on your program. I really appreciate it. I think people are finally ready for some of the things that I want to talk about. But as you said, I live in Detroit, Michigan, and I worked at Wayne State for 26 years. And after about 7 years of working at Wayne State, I got a job in the physics department. And I was just going there because I was trying to move out of the secretarial field and go into more administrative work, higher positions, basically. Mm-hmm. And so they had a fairly funded program in physics where, it's like, okay, I could get a higher position and I could just, it was like temporary, maybe like 5 years. So I'm like, okay, 5 years of doing this, and then I would move on. And so when I got there, I had no idea about physics. I didn't know anything about physics. I wasn't interested in physics. I was just interested in getting more money. But when I got there and I started learning what I was involved in, it totally changed my life. It changed everything. And I find it so amazing that I even find myself here talking about this, because it's truly been an amazing journey. And I want people to understand that it doesn't just happen to me. It can happen to anyone. These things that I'm going to tell you are what's going on. And so when I got into the physics department, I did have to learn a little bit of physics terminology to understand, to get into their field, because they do use different terms and things of that nature. But after about maybe 4 years of really trying to learn exactly my job, I started to actually wonder, what exactly are we doing? And the reason why I was asking that is because I would hear people on YouTube talking about the project that I was working on. They would bring up CERN, and I didn't know anything about CERN before I came there. And CERN is a nuclear physics laboratory in Geneva, Switzerland. And basically, I try to give them an understanding what CERN is. I said that's where the internet was developed. So that kind of gives you an idea of the type of work they do there. So this international project, when I first came there, I wasn't working with CERN. I was working at Brookhaven National Laboratory, which is another particle physics laboratory where they do this kind of experimentation. And from the RHIC project, which is a smaller version of the Large Hadron Collider, which Alice is a part of, was my very first experience in this electromagnetic, calorimeter, all of these things that I had to learn about. So after I started to learn about quantum physics, first of all, the one thing I want to say before I get into all of this is to define quantum physics in a way that everyone can understand. Because a lot of times these large words, they kind of scare us off from the subject, and we just think that the sound of it alone is like, oh, I can't understand it. But in actuality, if you break it down, it really isn't that, outlandish or something that you can't understand, because quantum physics is basically the study of very, 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 very small things. That's it. And the thing is when they start to study those things on a quantum level, which means, okay, you have an atomic level, right? And you study things on an atomic level, you're studying electrons, protons, and neutrons. But then when you go to the subatomic level, now you're trying to look into what is into protons, electrons, and the neutrons that make up the atom. So that's the subatomic. Now, when you get into the quantum level, you're getting even deeper to say, what are those things made of? So we're trying to get deep, deep, deep to find what is the one thing of which everything is created from.
Right.
And this idea of everything being created from one particle comes from our ideas of classical physics. Classical physics says everything is a particle. Everything's material. There's no, this is all you are. That's what classical physics has been telling us. And there's no spiritual side. Well, what happened was when the quantum physicists got down so far down into this little tiny, views, the laws of classical physics broke down. And they were like, what? Because everything is supposed to be same. Everything is a particle. But when they went down there, not only did the laws of physics break down, particles aren't even particles at that size. They aren't even substance. It's weird. It's like they're a wave of possibilities. Okay. So this was like mind-blowing to me. Okay. I'm like, wait a minute. What do you mean? First of all, when we think of physics, we think of physics outside of ourselves. That's out there. We're studying out there, but in actuality, you're studying in here. So when I found out that the laws of physics broke down on a quantum level, I thought, so that means that the laws of physics break down in me, because this is what I'm made of, right? So then it got me to thinking, wait a minute, what's going on? So my mind just started getting totally flipped upside down, because what I thought of as science fiction was now science fact. And I was living proof of it. I was right in the midst of these people doing this experimentation, telling me things like, on a quantum level, something can be two things at the same time. What do you mean by that? Because once again, you're talking about what's inside of me. So you're saying at some level, I can be two things at the same time. I mean, literally.
So let me interject a minute. So what would that mean? Like some of these movies we've seen, like oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the names of them, where you have people. I forgot that movie. The guy kept dying and coming back in these different like lives. Oh gosh, what is it called? like where they're jumping, like there's quantum jumping, where you get to jump into another reality, and so here you're this, but in this reality, then you're something else. Is that what they meant, or do they mean static, meaning right now? I'm trying to in my finite brain, I'm trying to tell you what I'm thinking of. Could I be here and then something else like right here, or would I be in a whole total dimension, something else?
Now, see, we're getting a little bit confusing here. Okay, I don't want to get confusing, because see, what you're talking about is like parallel universes, right?
Okay.
Whereas there are many different versions of you and I, which is true. There are parallel universes do exist. This is not something I'm saying. This is something that the quantum physicists are saying.
Okay.
And there's so many of them, and the ones that are closest to your universe are the ones that are most like the ones yours, right? So it may be the universe next to ours may be just off by just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's if you went there, you still think you were in this one because it's so similar.
Like would that be like the Mandela effect, where they say,
"Oh my goodness."
So I'm gonna get it, where they say, so
you jumped into the Mandela effect. Whoa,
okay, I'll get out of it.
I'm trying to lay a little foundation before.
All right, I'm let me calm down, because there's so many things that I've read and studied that I'm excited to have this conversation with you.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, I'll pull back.
I mean, well, it's a very exciting time to be alive, really. And what I'm trying to say is that a lot of things that we considered to be fantasy, to be science fiction, not real, I'm saying that these scientists are saying it is real. Okay, I consider quantum physics spirit science, right? Because now we're getting not into this physicalness, now we're getting to the invisible that used to be in the realm of metaphysics. You know what I'm saying? Pseudoscience. But now you got quantum physics, and this thing, well, no, not quite. As a matter of fact, a lot of things that the ancients spoke of and taught is coming back around in quantum physics. Now, when I was working at Wayne State, and I'm in between these two worlds, because in my private time, in my personal time, me and my sister, we were studying us. We were trying to learn about us as melanated people. Where did we come from? We just wanted to start learning for ourselves instead of taking other people's word. We're just going to sit down. We're going to, and whatever it was, we were going to accept it. And so we started going back and started reading about the ancient African cosmologies, their traditions, especially Egypt and things of that nature. And we read so much about the way that they thought about things. Now, what was weird to me is that when I was working in this physics department, the same concepts that I was reading about in the ancient times were concepts that they were talking about in quantum physics. Now, what I mean by that is this, like the thing of everything is part. We're all connected. That's something from ancient cosmology that I've always read about. The connection of everything is one thing and things of this nature. And then, so when I come in and I'm here dealing with quantum physics, that's exactly what they're saying. They're saying there's no separation between us, that we're all part of this, like a universal consciousness, and they call it like a quantum field, a unified field of everything is connected. Nothing is separated. So I'm like, wait a minute, all of these things. So I'm trying to imagine, how could this be, right? Because everything looks different, but yet you think everything is the same. And so I like to bring things down to the simplest way of thinking of it so I can kind of understand it. So I say, now, how can something be connected, but it doesn't look like it? And it's funny, I took the simplest thing. As a woman, you know how you have those materials where you'll see a woman, she'll have some material and she'll wrap it around her head. And then she take it off, she could take that same material and wrap it into her skirt. And she could, and then you'd be like, and someone look and say, that's a skirt. I'm like, yeah. And then someone will say, but that's a head wrap. I'm like, yeah. Well, someone say, no, that's not a head wrap. That's a skirt. He said, well, I know, but if you twist it this way, it's the same material, but
Right.
you twist it different, it turns into something totally different. So I'm just imagining this wide sheet of universal consciousness, just a wide sheet of everything, and everything is twisted up into its own little vibration frequency. You know what I'm saying? Which my frequency makes this, your frequency makes that, but we're all, if you unwind us all, you see, we're gonna be the same thing. So that's what this. We're all different vibrations, different frequencies, but we're still all the same thing. So that's why a lot of things that we would say can't be possible, like telekinesis and teleportation. You can't do that. In the classical world of physics, no, that's impossible. But in quantum physics, when everything is connected, all of those things seem possible.
So are these revelations of that we are connected and that we're one being just reported in their journals? Because it doesn't seem like anything that they're making public. I don't hear.
Oh no, you don't talk about quantum entanglement and quantum superposition. They just talk about that to themselves. You say, because when you say that, people are, oh, what is that? But when you break it down, that's what it's saying. It's saying that you can have something that can be in two places at the same time. Now they did something called a double slit experiment. And they call it the granddaddy of all quantum physics experiments. Well, why is that? Because when they did this double slit experiment, that's when they noticed this consciousness at a quantum level. And what I mean by consciousness, I mean that they had a setup. They did a setup like this. They had two slits, and they shot these electrons through these two slits, and they shot them up against a screen. And if you shoot anything through two slits, you imagine you're going to get a line of like this, right? Because they're going to be going through this slit, and they're going to be going through that slit, and you look at the screen, and you're going to have this, because that's the way they came out. But what they found when they did that at the quantum level, with what hit the screen, didn't look like what they shot out there. It looked like a wave. To make it simple, I make it like this. I say, imagine that you shot some round balls at a screen and you expect to see these little round indentations. But instead, when you shot it out there, when you look there, they're square. And you're like, how can it be square? Because we shot round balls. And you keep trying to do it again, and it still becomes a square. But then, so you say, okay, well, let's look closer. And we're going to observe and see how exactly does it, how does this change? And when you observe it, it turns back into small round balls. You see? So it's saying that your observation of anything changes it.
So that means, would that turn to things like making, say, manifestation and things like that, because you're giving focused attention, observation, you manifest.
Mm-hmm.
You and I both might be focusing on the same thing, and we might turn it into two different things based on our work, because we're sending it out into the quantum field. But what we get back depends on what we intention and things like that.
Perception is everything. How you perceive things changes things. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's like you can be the person, think you're doing the experiment. I'm out here, I'm doing this experiment, and this is the conditions out here. But what quantum physics says is like, as long as you're involved, as long as you're observing that experiment, you're part of it and you're affecting it. You're not separate.
Someone said, or Joe says, an intelligence observing you observe it.
Exactly. At the quantum level. This is what I'm saying, because we have to understand that consciousness, our consciousness, is not just this thing that we use in our everyday world. I mean, this consciousness is everywhere. I asked my boss one day, because after I'm learning about this, and I'm like, I'm not sure, can this be right, what they're saying? So I went in there and I asked him one time, I said, Tom, if I understand, if we understand what this quantum physics is and how to really understand how to interact with this, that we will be able to do magic. And I use the word magic to a quantum physicist because I wanted him to understand that I really think this is what you're telling me, that I can do magic. And he said yes. And once he said that to me, it was over for me. I was like, oh, I'm in. I started studying everything I could about quantum physics and you know, trying to understand these concepts because it's so counterintuitive to what we're used to thinking, how we're used to thinking about things. And when you have to stop and just kind of like relearn everything that you thought you knew, you just like all your physics books, you know, up to this point, you just like, you know, that's not it. We were wrong. You know, and now we're dealing with what's really going on, and it's so weird because it's hard to, it's like, in a sense, none of this is real, but it's real to us. But in actuality, it's not. Like I asked another thing, I asked him, I said, is it true that we never touch anything? I feel like I touch something every day. What do you mean? He said, yeah, that's true too. He says, well, what do you mean by that? He says, well, you know, everything has a force field around it, right? And that's so every time we touch something, we thinking we're touching the actual object, but in actuality, it's just two force fields, you know, touching each other. And so it's like all
they're coming into contact, but not necessarily touch, what we call touch.
Exactly.
I mean, you see pictures or movies where they'll show. I saw something recently, and the I think it was Raising Dion, that one of the segments, and the father, that energy took the father, and he appears back whole solid for a while. And at one point he's looking over his son and he's trying to touch him, but he's going through him. Every time what he feels like his hand is reaching out, it's kind of showing it's particled, and he's not really
exactly
that kind of
almost as if his force field has been removed. You see, so he can't touch because there's nothing there now. It's just like this, because that's what I'm saying. I said, because if I didn't have my force field around me, then I would just be part of everything else. I mean, you know what I'm saying? No differentiation from me, from everything.
So the force field does the illusion of separation.
Exactly.
The illusion of separation.
Exactly.
And so when we leave our force field, like in you know, in transitioning, and you know, the it's like the field dissipates, and then we become a part of everything again.
And I think that's when we know everything again.
Really,
you know, I think it's all of this is keeping us, you know, it's keeping our consciousness, you know, like down. Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a scripture that talks about something about, you know, and I'm not all into the Bible anymore, but it just things come back to mind. So I used to be a pastor, and it's one that talks about, and then will we know as we are known. And it sort of means like at some point, and I'm thinking in what we call death or transition. And by the way, you know, like I said to you, my father just transitioned on Friday, and it's, you know, I have a different, yes, I cried, but because, you know, but I also know that now he's back a part of the all of everything, and he knows even the things that I wish he knew. Now he knows the things that I don't know. So so there, it's a point to come where you become the everything, the brain, or the knowing, like you said.
Exactly.
And so scientists know this, and they're keeping it from the public or the masses. Why?
Yes, that's a good question. I think a lot of it has to do with politics. It has to do with belief systems. Because another thing I'll tell you, I experienced when I was working in the physics department. You know, they have these lectures where, you know, they talk about, you know, subjects in their fields and things of that nature. And one time they did one, and the name of it was Forbidden Knowledge. And I thought, forbidden knowledge? Okay, we're in the sciences here, you know, academia. what knowledge could be forbidden? And I was so curious about that because I was at the time, I was all into ancient, cosmology and reading about ancient history, and there were forbidden knowledges back then, you know what I'm saying? It was forbidden only for certain people. So now here I'm having scientists using that same kind of, phrasing. I'm like, okay, so I went to the lecture to see what they were talking about. And basically what they were saying is that for when they say forbidden knowledge, what they mean is that you may have something that you're really, really interested in studying, something that you think is going to be groundbreaking and whatever in physics. But if the powers that be do not want you to study that, it's not like they'll say, oh, you can't study that. But what they will do is they will make sure you don't get any funding, you don't get any, exposure, so what the scientists find themselves doing is self-censoring themselves. You see,
just to survive. And it's, you know what? It's like a lot of our melanated scholars have done, who have gone through the years, and stuck with some of the narratives that put us one place and not all the other places that we were, because they would not get that funding or the support. And so they, in private, they would admit we were expensive and we were everywhere. Yes. But in their academic circle, it was, you came from here on the boat and you got here, you was in chains. And then one day, Abraham Lincoln freed you.
Yeah, exactly. So in any field, it's the same thing that, that you get put in this box, and sure, you can have your own opinions, but you're not going to get anywhere. You're not going to get tenure. You're not going to get research funding. So it forces them to stay, like if they want to study something like DMT or the whole ayahuasca, some kind of chemical that, takes you to another dimension, things of that nature. And you may say that there's evidence that something is going on when these people are going there, but they're not going to do that because they don't want us to understand the power of our minds. And I understand why, because if we did understand, then we would no longer be controlled by them, Right. And I see, so because when I was on this project, and this is the largest machine ever built in the world. This thing is 17 miles in circumference. That's how big this machine that we built is. 17 miles around. It's like almost 200 feet beneath the earth. They built this thing just to smash subatomic particles. You know what I'm saying?
And why did it have to be so large?
Why did it have to be so large? Because when they're dealing with something that's small, they have to build up so much energy before they actually do the collision, that those particles could have to build up over that long route in order for them to collide. And I think that quantum physics is like it's taking a hammer to, it's like this smashing and destroying to find out what's inside of it, and they're taking this approach, and we're going to make it bigger and bigger to, all of this. But I'm like, I don't think that's the way it works, because the ancient people did these things and found out about these things, and they didn't build no Large Hadron Collider. They used billions of dollars, but they're saying the same thing you're saying, because when I brought that to my boss's attention, and I told him that the same concepts that you're talking about in quantum physics, I'm reading about in ancient Egypt specifically, and even in the Indian, the Vedas and
Vedic texts, yeah.
I'm like, that sounds familiar. And when I told him that, first thing he said was, well, no, that can't be possible because they didn't discover quantum physics till the 1930s. I said, no, I don't know, but I'm not crazy. I know these things sound similar. And then he said, well, you know what they say, there's nothing new under the sun. And that's what I'm saying, because for me, I don't know why I was put in that position. When I started in that position at Wayne State, I was the only black person, only melanated person on the research team, and I was the only female. And this, so I'm sitting here like, okay, why am I here? But I'm naturally nosy. So I think that was one of the reasons that I was put there, because they knew, whoever put me there, because a lot of things that happen in my life that I really can't explain. And obviously something or something is working with me.
Yes.
And so I said, okay, well, I was put here for a reason, because most people wouldn't even be delving into this. They would just be about doing their job, which is what most people are. But I was like curious, because I'm like, I'm interested in science fiction and things of this nature. But now they're getting my interest, because this isn't just about calculations and, math. This is about actually talking about me, and it's extraordinary what they're finding out about me. So that took
So
me.
yeah, that was it. So I've seen the depictions of CERN
Mhm,
with Shiva, with the
mhm.
yeah, with and the destroyer. Yeah,
Yes.
so they definitely have correlated it to that type of thing. So I don't know why he could say no, but there's nothing new under the sun, because
Right.
they've even used Shiva to
Yes.
depict CERN.
Yes.
Um, but some even say that CERN was created to open portals.
Mhm.
I know you said they were, going down to the quantum level
Yeah.
of particles and so forth, but then I've heard, is there anything about was there any talk of opening portals? And I mean, because I hear that there are those that want to get out of here, and they're trying to figure out, they can't go up. Apparently, they can't go up and out, and so they're
Uh,
looking for other dimensional ways of escaping, so to speak, this particular.
okay. Well, everyone has their theories, right? And so I don't knock anyone's theories. I just look at things, from my perspective, and try to understand. And what I believe is happening is that they aren't trying to escape. I don't think they may be, but I'm just saying I don't think that's not what they're doing. I think what they're doing is they are trying to stop us from knowing the power within us. And you
Ah,
say, why would they go through so much? I mean, it's so much trouble just for the power to worry about the power within us. I'm saying because the power within us is so unbelievably strong, and they know, so they're doing everything they can. I don't know how they're trying to block it. I don't know what energies they're trying to bring in. I know there are portals all over this earth. I know there are some weird things that have gone on at CERN, and because I understand what's inside of us, I say they have to be worried sick. They have to be working overtime, because once we realize what quantum physics is telling us, not about the outside world, no, is what it's telling you about you, about who you are, about your capabilities. And I'm saying this because once I recognized it, I started to say, okay, well, let me see if this is true. The proof is in the pudding. Either it's real or it's not. I don't have time to be trying to, guess. I'm like, if you say this is true, if you say that we create our own realities, if you say that what's inside affects outside, then there must be evidence of it, right?
right.
So I started thinking about, what do I know that can't be explained by classical physics, the way we think of things? What do I know? And the one thing that I know is something called the placebo effect, right? You know what the placebo effect is, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so they have these trials, whereas they give some people the medicine, and they give some people a sugar pill and tell them that it is medicine, and they call it a placebo. And so if a person takes some medicine that takes a sugar pill, then they should not be affected by anything, as if they shouldn't get better because you didn't take no medicine. But in the placebo effect, if your mind believes that what you took was medicine, your mind will react as if the medicine was taken.
Right. And that it was a cure.
Yeah. Now, I say that, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, that's not supposed to be possible. Okay, your mind is not supposed to be, from what our classical physicists taught us, your mind does not control your physical body. If you're hurt, if you have a cut, you have a cut. What does your mind have to do with that? You see, but in the placebo effect, it's saying that your mind affects your physical body. So if that is possible, right there, that breaks the laws of physics. That's not supposed to happen. If that is possible, if we can have a placebo effect, or if we can have psychosomatic illnesses, which is the exact opposite, if you think you're sick, you will make your body physically sick, whether you are or not.
Which brings us to the last couple of years, without really saying it, that's still an effect. And then there you got, MSM giving you what it is on a daily basis.
Exactly.
And then your mind is now going to either decide to acquiesce to it and start to have the symptoms, or to reject it and be an anomaly, or in spite of, and walk through the fire, so to speak, and not get burned. Absolutely. But it's all, like you said, your mind is is a determining factor. What your mind believes, right, is what you're saying. It'll conceive.
Absolutely. So that's why I don't worry about that. I don't worry. I'm like, why do I worry? But it just, it doesn't affect me. Just, I know who I am. I know if I were to get something or whatever, it doesn't even matter. You know what I'm saying? This is what people don't understand, because whenever you start doing things out of fear, and that's what they pump into us constantly, and fear shuts down your spirit. You know what I'm saying? It shuts it down. Like, for instance, these are the things that I've learned, like I said, since I've been dealing with this quantum physics thing. And I started thinking about things like when people say, do you make pendants for protection? And I'll say, okay. See, and I have to break down, because I understand what you're saying, but to me, in where we are, when you say you want something for protection, I immediately see you doing this. Protecting us. You know what I'm saying? I see you doing this. I said, I don't create things for protection. I create things for empowerment, right? So that means that when you get what I want you to get, you're not going to be doing this. You're going to be doing this. You see, because you're going to be saying, this is my power, and I'm affecting out. I'm not trying to, what are you hiding? What are you holding? What are you keeping safe? What energy are you keeping safe? What are you keeping it for? You saving it for a later date, a rainy day. You know what I'm saying? We have to just learn to stop thinking so much as we got to protect and understand what used to be the best defense is a great offense. You know what I'm saying? But as long as when you're feeling weak, you have to protect. But I have to protect when you're feeling strong. You're like, oh, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use my energy. I'm going to change things out there instead of worrying about something changing me.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just a different way of thinking about this vehicle that I'm using and what I can actually do with it, that they're telling me I can't do with it. And they're doing all sorts of things, because the power that they're putting in that Large Hadron Collider, and the money and all of that is nothing compared to what's inside of us.
So how do we begin to know and harness our own power?
Yes, exactly. I think the first thing we have to do is to relax. Relax. Because we get like this. Oh, see, as soon as you do that, you're in resistance. See, and you're resisting. No. That's fearful. We have to relax and become as children. You know what I'm saying? When I say as children, I mean we have to become curious. We have to stop thinking we know things. I know. No. You have to accept that you don't know anything. And then you start from there, and that's when you grow. I don't know. I tell people, they say, what do? I say, close your eyes. They're like, close my eyes. You want me to meditate? No, I didn't ask you to meditate. See, because See, we want everything to be so hard because it's got to be hard. And I'm here to say, quantum physics says it ain't got to be hard. Quantum physics says it's got to only have to be as hard as you want it to be. That's and you say, well, I don't want it to be hard. Well, yeah, because you don't believe it can be easy. So you're gonna say it's got to be hard. What? How do we do it? I was like, just change the way you think. But I guess no, just change. Just change. Just start looking at things differently. You don't have to add something in. You don't have to take anything out. You just have to look at it differently. But that sounds so crazy to people. Like, how is that going to change my life? You'd be surprised, because once you open yourself up to possibilities, this unified field hears you. It feels your vibration, and it says, "Oh, you ready? Are you ready?" It's like, "Oh, I see you coming. Did you wake up?" Because it's just waiting on us. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, they still sitting there going to work every day. They just have no idea. I'll be glad when they wake up and so when one of us wakes up, it's like the universe is like, oh gosh, okay, because it's an interactive kind of thing. I mean, and that's truly the way I see it.
That's exciting, though. It should be giving someone hope that, or maybe it's not hope, but a push, if you will, to think outside of the box, to think outside of what's being shown to them, create outside of the limited possibilities, and realize like that movie Limitless.
Yes, exactly.
Is that what you're saying? We're limitless if only we knew.
Yes. I'll give you an example. How perception, how you can perform alchemy. Right. And, alchemy is changing like lead and gold, changing something from, a lesser to a higher form. So, how we're conceived. Right. And we have each time a man ejaculates, he ejaculates about between 200 to 300 million sperm. Now, think about this. That means that all of us on this earth beat out the odds of 200 million to 1 to get here. I'm like, you mean everybody at the line at the same time, and the only ones that made it to that egg and got in was us. There's no weak people on the earth. Can't be. What are the odds? 200 million to 1. And you made it, and I made it. And so you think that we made it just to, I don't know, go to work? It just doesn't make sense to beat up those odds. So why did we get here? We talk about quantum physics. Our whole bodies are quantum, using quantum mechanics. What do I mean by that? I mean, our bodies do some unbelievable things and we don't even recognize it. From conception, the thing I used to think about is, do y'all notice that when we're conceived, the only thing the cell does is divide. That one cell, once it's fertilized, it just divides, just divides. How is all that dividing ended up with this? If it was only one cell, how did it turn into all of this? And do you know the developmental scientists and biologists, they don't understand. How does that, because we start off with stem cells. You know what stem cells are?
Well, I know that they extract them from babies and even people themselves. And that from a stem cell, you can regrow organs and tissue and,
See, because at the very beginning of our conception, the first cells that are grown are cells that can become anything, right? Those are stem cells. They have the makings. Every cell in our body, first of all, has the ability to make a whole nother body. Think about that. Every single cell has the ability to become a whole body, any body part. But something tells it you're going to be this, you're going to be that. Who tells it? You know what I'm saying? Who's talking? I mean, okay, so some people will say God. Okay. All right. Well, it was, but still there's an intelligence at a very, very small, for a baby. I mean, an embryo, a couple of cells, and I mean, when you say, how do we change? Start thinking about things differently. That's what I'm saying. That's how you change. You start changing your perspective when you just look at the same things that you've always seen, but you look at them differently, right? Like I always thought that because the female is the one who gives birth, I felt like our bodies are built for this, right? But I couldn't understand, why did I have morning sickness? Because if my body knows this is what its job is, and once the baby comes, okay, you just handle it. But now I'm feeling sick, and whatever. But see, when I learned about how conception goes, the baby's controlling your body. From the moment it steps in, now think about that. How can something that small have that much control over you? There has to be a very strong consciousness. So that person, whomever, that baby, that embryo, that zygote, before he even becomes an embryo, already has consciousness. You see? And that consciousness doesn't have anything to do with the mother. And we say maternal instinct, and then you find out, oh, you get your maternal instinct. You love that baby so much because that baby is pumping a hormone in your body called oxytocin that says, you love me, you love me, you love me, you love me, because the baby understands that even though he will be fully formed when he comes out of the womb, he's still going to need you. And he needs you to feel love for it. So it's not like, oh, I'm a mother and I just have this, because I'm a mother, I have this instinct. That's why some women's like, I didn't feel that way. Well, because maybe your baby didn't give you enough of that. You see what I'm saying? But it's just different from the way that you think things work. It doesn't work like that. You see what I'm saying? This consciousness is everywhere, and it's before you even get here, Because the thing I'll ask people, I'll say, what's your earliest memory? And people are like, what do you ask? What's just the earliest memory? And usually people go maybe back to 5. I said, well, think about it a little more. Think about, they're like, you know what? Yeah, I remember when I was 2, and I remember such and such holding me. And I remember looking, and I remember I was just a little baby. So I said, okay, so if you can have a memory from 6 months old, some people, then that means you can have a memory from 2 months old. And then that means you can have a memory from 1 day old. Then that means you can have a memory from before you even got here. So you see what I'm saying? This is continuation. It's not like you got here and then you start, having
Thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, which brings to mind is that children in the womb, some children are born with traumas from the womb because of what they heard and learned while they were in the womb. I mean, I birthed one child, at least one, that was in a traumatic situation, and it affected him. Because and so those things. I mean, it's a live being even at that point. That's why you have some mothers playing classical music and reading certain things while in utero, and then the baby comes out and has a love for reading or reads, hearing music or certain things, or does things early because the training began even before they were born. While they were in that conception, in that
Yeah. So my point is that our perception and how we perceive things can change our whole lives, and we don't even realize it, and we don't realize that what's inside of us changes outside, So once you learn that, wait a minute, I can actually affect things, because this is the thing that I realized, that we can affect things outside of us from the inside. That's quantum physics. That's quantum physics. That's you know what I'm saying. It's not everything is from inside out. It's not from outside in. Outside doesn't affect you. You're affecting out there. You see what I'm saying? but it's kind of hard for us to think of ourselves like that, like we have that much power. So then people say, okay, well, give me examples, because of course you want to say, okay, show me how you work this. Show me how you work this magic, right? This manifestation, creating your own reality and things of that nature. So I'm going to give you my most recent manifestation, because, okay, let me just say this before I say that. I think of us, especially melanated people, and this for a certain reason, but I think of most people, but especially melanated people, as like X-Men. You know, the X-Men, superheroes, right? I mean, mutants or whatever, and they have these powers, right? I said, now think about it. These X-Men, when they were children, when they were young, growing up or whatever, they had these abilities, but they didn't know how to control them. So they was always having troubles and, things not going right for them, because they outsiders, they're outcasts, and I like them, this and that and the other. But when Professor Xavier comes and says, come here, I'm gonna take you over to my school, and I'm gonna show you how to control your powers, control your abilities. And once you start controlling your abilities, they become an asset instead of a liability. And that's the way I feel like we are. We're out here and we have all these abilities, but we don't know how to control them. We don't even know. It's just everything's happening. And why is this going wrong? Because your gifts are just all out there. It's just all no structure, no form. It's just tearing up everything. Like if you have a special ability, but if you don't know how to handle it, you can destroy things.
Yeah.
Right. But once you learn to get a grasp on it and understand how to control it, then it becomes something where you can build. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. This is where I feel that we are. The reason why we have so many issues, because like in the movie Hancock, he said, until you accept that you're a superhero, you're going to be miserable. Until we accept who we are, we're going to be miserable. I was miserable until I found out, accepted who I was, who I am, and who you are, and who all of us are, and the abilities that we have. Now back to my manifestation. How did you manifest? Okay, so I'm on YouTube, and I'm watching YouTube, and I come up on this video of Kwame Brown. Do you know Kwame Brown?
I've seen him.
Okay, so he got on YouTube and he started.
Yeah, he was upset first, but now he's turned. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So when I saw him, I said, oh, I like what he's saying. I liked what he was saying because he came on and he said people could use his content. And in YouTube circles, people using your content is a big thing, your money, you copyright this and that. He said, hey, everybody, use mine, use this, he talking whatever. I said, ooh, that's different. I like that. I like that energy of saying, hey, I'm going to come in and do it differently. Something I felt about him that I felt like we were on the same frequency, right? As far as what we were thinking. And I said to myself, I'm going to make him a pyramid. Just like that. I'm going to make him a pyramid. And I said, okay, and I'm thinking of how I'm going to do it, blah, blah. I mean, all these things, I'm going to do it. And then, now someone could say to me, how are you going to get the pyramid to him? I don't know. Well, if you don't know how you're going to get it to him, well, why would you make it if you don't know? My point is this. When you have an inspirational thought, if you let other people start talking to you, they'll start talking to you to make you say, what the heck was I thinking? Of course that can't happen. Of course he'll never get it. Of course I'll be, you know what I'm saying? But instead, I just said, make him this pyramid. I'm going to make it. He's going to get it. And so I made the pyramid. It took me a while to do it because I got to think about it, whatever. And I'm just watching his shows. Every time he come on YouTube, I'm making this pyramid. He don't have no idea I'm making this pyramid. I'm making this pyramid for him. So I almost finished the pyramid, and I watched his show. And that particular day, he says, I like supporting you Black businesses. I tell you what, I'm going to give you an address. Send me your stuff, and then I'm going to promote you on my platform. I said, did this man just give me the address to send the pyramid? Did he just give me the address? Did he just gave it to me? I'm like, oh my God. So the next day I finished up the pyramid. I mailed it off to him, right? I'm watching every day because every day he come up and he shows somebody stuff. Is it mine yet? Nope, not mine. Oh, no, you didn't open mine. So that's okay. This one day he comes in, and the name of the video was the hate is real, but love is the truth. And I said, uh-oh, he been having some problems. Because I know how it is when you're going up against this system. Like, it ain't going to be easy. You're going to have some issues, right? And so I said, he coming in, he's got his earphones on, and he's listening to some music, and he's listening to Bob Marley, everything's going to be all right. I'm like, oh, shoot, he's having problems. I know how that is, right? So I'm listening, watching. I'm like, oh, my God, what happened? The first box that man picked up and opened was mine. I'm like, is that my box? That's my box. He opened that box, and when he took that pyramid out, which I have recorded in case you want to see it.
You can share that. Yes, we want.
Well, because my son gave me a little clip of it, so like the beginning when he was talking about, and when he opened it up, and at the end when he talked about it, but the look on his face when he saw that, I saw the energy. I saw him. I said he knew it because see, that's the way that this unified field is. He got it on exactly the time when he needed it. It was the very first box that he opened, and what's funny is that he opened it from the bottom. So he didn't even get my card. He didn't know who I was. He didn't know nothing. He just saw this pyramid. And the way that I created it, about, all the things he was talking about, and the smile on his face. And he said he was going to put it back. He has some shelves back here. So he sits it on the shelf, which is still there, by the way. It's been there for months. It's still there. And but at the end of the shelf, he said, he went and he picked it back up. And he says, thank you for this. He said, I really needed this after the day that I've had today. This is positive. This is uplifting. And I'm looking at him like, oh my God. Unbelievable. You see what I'm saying?
You knew it way in advance that he was going to need it, instinctively that he was going to need it when, or the universe knew when he would need it, but it was then for now, so to speak.
See, you see, this is what I'm saying. That's a manifestation because there's no way that should have happened like that in the regular world.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I knew. I didn't think he was going to get it. I didn't know how he was going to get it, but I had this feeling of knowingness. You see, and so the question is, how do I get that feeling again? How did I get that? How did I do that? You see, that's what I mean about trying to control, get a control of our gifts because we do them, but it's almost kind of like accident. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. How did I do that? Let me try to do that again. What was I feeling when that happened? Things of that nature. So that's what I'm saying about we can manifest things that we have no idea that we can actually do when we know that we can do it.
Yeah. I mean, I've done it on more than one occasion with, say, cars. Mm-hmm. I decide the car that I want, and I start looking at it and what I want in it. And I'm watching videos for about 6 months because now it's going to come out the following year. And yeah, I want that. And I think 100% of the time when I've done that over the last maybe 20 years, I've gotten exactly what I manifested or what I, and every, the one I have now, people have more expensive, but I think the last one I manifested was almost like 50,000, notes for but it was what I looked at it for 6 months. I was building it almost in my own mind, and then it manifests. And so you're right. Your mind has to start the process that brings forth the what we call physical manifestation or the outcome of what it is we desire. But like you said, too often we have other things in our ears or things we hearing that say, no, you can't. That's not possible. No, or it may not even be directed at you, but think that you are in the category of who it's directed to, so you take that and say, yeah, well, what was I thinking?
Yeah, like, what was I thinking? Of course I
can. But yes, you're right. Yes, you can, and you should, but you have to hold that. I remember reading, there's a guy, now I don't even really, I'm trying to remember his name, but he's a we call a modern European that's probably in his early, he may be 90 by now, but he was the first that I started studying about quantum jumping.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I don't know his name. But he was able, like he was in his 70s and 80s, and when he discovered quantum jumping, he would jump into another reality and see himself doing something. He would learn and observe and see himself doing, I think painting was one of the things. And he would, when he get back, he had learned how he became, and his, I think he was 70 something when he became a world famous painter artist. You know, he would, whatever he would need, want to learn next, he would jump into that reality and find his doppelgangers, what they call them. Remember? So he would find his doppelganger, and he would observe, and he would see, well, I'm doing it. Look, I see myself doing it. And so when we get back into this particular reality, it would be a new skill that he had now activated. And he's still doing that.
Well, you know what's funny for you to say that is that I had it queued up a video of a quantum physicist. His name is Audrey Rumbers, and he's talking about the first D-wave computer. That's the D-wave computer that tells us about the parallel universes. But what's interesting is that he said, and we can show this, I can pull it up. He said,
sure. Yeah, you can share.
Okay. He says that we can now not only are aware of these parallel universes, but we can actually go into another parallel universe, exploit its resources, and bring them back here. Isn't that what the same thing you said? This is what a quantum physicist says. So let's listen. Let me now. Let's see if I can get this right, because I'm like, this is coming out of their mouths, and you know what I'm saying. So what do we do with this now? You can't tell me that it's not true, because this is okay. And he says it just like this. Hold on, let me go on. YouTube. Where's Jordy? Yeah. There he is. Now listen to this man. I should have him queued up at 5 minutes.
You may.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to move him over.
You click share.
Exactly where he says it. So let me see. Yeah, there it is. 509. Okay. Listen to this man.
Did you click share?
Oh, okay. Well, I got to go click share. Let me go back. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Okay, share screen. Okay, let me get this right. Okay, now where is he at? Where now? I'm up here. This is where I want to be. Can you see it now?
I don't see it yet. So click share at the bottom, see if we can, and then it'll give you the option.
Hold on. Share. Okay, I click. Oh, I see. I got to click on something.
Yes.
Now, what is that I'm clicking on?
You go to another page. Remember, you said you couldn't see yourself, but just go to another page, the page that you're sharing, and then click share.
Here? Can you see it now?
Not yet. Let me see, because it's not on there yet. So you have to click. You know, we did that earlier.
I know, and I don't know what did I click.
So you first should bring up the screen that you want to share.
And then I have a tab. I have a tab here.
Right, tab, and click share at the bottom. It should pop up here. That's why I don't see it yet.
Okay, let me see. Window. Maybe that'll do it. Darn, I don't know. I don't know how I get you to see this.
Yeah, when you click share, it ought to pop up here, and I'll see it here, and then I can bring it in, but I don't see it.
Okay, that's large. I don't want to do that. It's just another tab.
Right. So but it's just the sharing part is on your side, and once you do share, I should see it to bring it into the.
See something more?
Now we go. Here we go. Well, now you got to bring it to the right page.
Yeah.
All right. and we can do this. Okay. All right, bring it back to that page. Let me see.
If I click on him,
we got too many things open now. Let me see.
Mhm.
I said we have a little bit too many things. We just go to that one page. I guess you call it tab.
Darn, I don't know.
There you are. There we are.
You got it?
Now you just need to play it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, listen.
Entranced by the physics of these things. This quote is from a respectable scientist, in fact, one of the founders of this field, that may look a little strange to you who don't follow theoretical physics, but there is a very clear prediction that our most successful theory of nature makes. And that is that there are an enormous number, mind-bogglingly large number of parallel realities, as real as this one, that have different consistent histories. So imagine a world where all of the laws of physics as we know them are obeyed, but different decisions were made along the way. Different decisions at the level of tiny microscopic particles, different decisions all the way up to what you chose to eat for lunch and whether you chose to come to the session or not. Quantum mechanics makes a very specific prediction that all of those are as real as the thing that you remember. And this is bizarre because we don't see those other things. But science has reached the point now where we can build machines that exploit those other worlds. And quantum computers are perhaps the most exciting of all of these that we have within, or almost within our grasp right now. So people from a physics background love this. They want to understand the world. They want to understand the universe, how it all works. There's another type of person who tends to...
I'm just going to stop him right there because the 20 minutes, you should really listen to the entire 20 minutes because he's saying some unbelievable things. Let me see.
Jordy, we have to share that. Yeah.
All right.
But what he made is that there are parallel universes as real as the one we are experiencing. But I guess my question would be, with the from what you know, is the consciousness level of consciousness in those other universes one of such that you would know that there are more universes? The parallel, in other words, that you know something else exists. You're somewhere else doing something else just slightly different. Like,
well, here's the thing. It's as if all of the different yous and news in these different parallel universes are really only just one. You know what I'm saying?
The same one.
Yeah, it's the same one, having these different experiences at the same time with just different choices made. You know, so it's
there's a show on TV. I don't know if you remember it, but I saw it a few months ago. And it's this guy, I'm just going to say his name is Bob or something. Mm-hmm. And he's living two lives. Like one life he married this person and did this. In the other life, he was a doctor. In one life, he was a musician. And they keep showing the two, like depending on which way he decided, he could have been a doctor or he could have been the rock star. And it may still be on. But it took me a while to realize it was the same guy living two different lives parallel
at the same time. Yeah. There was a show, oh my gosh, called Fringe, Fringe. And Fringe told exactly what these scientists are doing. They talked about going over the parallel universes, how they're affecting this, how other universes are affecting this universe. And then you brought up the Mandela effect, which I don't usually bring up very often because people think I'm nuts. And so I just have to keep it to myself because I experienced that. And from what he was telling about the physicist we were just listening to, he's one of the physicists who was involved in creating the first quantum computer. And that's what he was talking about, how they built these quantum computers, that they found out that they were connected to these other parallel universes. So it's through this quantum computer that they learned about these parallel universes, you know. And what this quantum computer does is they have to keep this chip that they use for this computer like almost at zero, colder than outer space. It's just unbelievable what they have to do. And when he discusses this computer, he says it has a pulse that sounds eerily like a heartbeat. And he says when you're standing next to it, he said he feels like he's standing next to an alien god. Talks like that. You have to do. I mean, you really. I'll send you the.
That sounds like something out of what's the new movie that just came on? Eternals. They got this thing that is the brain of everything, and it just looks like it's some kind of big automatron, but it's the thing that allegedly supposed to have created everything that is the good, the bad, and whatever. So I mean, every time we see these kinds of movies, Marvels and all these things, I now look at, okay, what message, what are they, what karmic debt are they sloughing off by putting this one on?
Yes, exactly, because they tell us all the time. And all of these, I'm like, they're in Rick and Morty. I'm like, they're talking about quantum physics. That's exactly what's going on. I say he's telling us in that. They're telling us in French. They're telling us in the movie Soul. In the Pixar movie Soul. Did you see that?
I did see that.
Mm-hmm. And did you notice that the teacher? Huh?
The music teacher.
Yeah. And did you notice that the Soul's number was 22, which I think is significant to this year. The new Soul's year. The new Soul's was number 22. The soul he was dealing with, the one that didn't want to come down to earth. I said all of the numbers 22. 22. And this year, I think this is the year of us to really start awakening. That new energy is coming in really strong. It's so many things I want to tell you. I want to talk to you about, because I want to talk about this race. It seems that we're on this race of spirituality and I don't know what you would call it, electronic computer interface brain. I don't know. Like they're on their track, which I feel is trying to trap us here, trap our minds here, and then but we're on our track, right? And so we always are excuse me, are focusing on them. They're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing 5G, they're doing the COVID, they're doing. I said, okay, I get that. But what's on the other side, right? Mm-hmm. Because for every yin, there's a yang. And so what's our yang? And in 2006, when I was working in the physics department, I there was a article in one of the magazines about this cosmic DNA coming out of the center of the Milky Way galaxy. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Okay, this is my little PowerPoint presentation. I'm gonna try to do this again. Oh nope, I gotta share my screen.
Yes.
Okay, let me see. Share my screen. And this is the one I want to share. Okay, did you see this?
Not yet.
Oh,
gotta do what you did before.
I don't know what I did before, but okay. Hold on. So I have to go here. Share, okay. Just a sec. Oh, okay, I got it now. Okay, the hang of it now. Okay. This is my little PowerPoint. I mean, not a PowerPoint, just some slides that I just kind of, I put in order for you to see. The first one, let me just go through this. This shows the Large Hadron Collider. And you see where Alice is? Mm-hmm. That's my project, experimental project. So this large ring, that's what they shoot the subatomic particles around, and they smash them together, and then they try to find out from the collision the smaller particles and what they can make, even break it down even smaller. And this
so
here,
this is an area. Was that an area? It's in the ground flat?
Yes, it's underground. It's like a tunnel. It's like a long round tunnels going around this entire 17 miles.
Would that be like sort of like a tube, sort of like a
mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and yeah, it's you can see some different. Like now, this is the actual machine.
Right.
You see that little man? You see the man down there?
Yes, I do.
So that's just giving you an idea of how large it is.
Yes.
Right. And then next one I have is a picture of, this is CERN.
Shiva.
Yeah, that's the statue of Shiva that's there at CERN, which is the destroyer and destroying, creating order from chaos. I think that's what the Shiva is about. I remember reading about it. And let's see. Okay, and that's you see how they put that? They're saying this the Shiva is kind of resembles the Large Hadron Collider.
Yeah.
And also it kind of looks like a portal. If you look at it from different angles, it looks like a portal, and things can come through there. And this here is the one I wanted to show you, though. This is the DNA coming out of the Milky Way galaxy. Okay, now it may be hard for you to see it from this.
Let me see if we can make it bigger. Well, I guess I can't make it any bigger. Make your screen full.
I can't make it any. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can do this. Hold on. Let me see if I do this. Do it as a slideshow. Okay. Is that better?
No, it stayed the same.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, it actually stayed the same. But you're saying that that's the Milky Way?
That is DNA coming from through the Milky Way. It's coming from, okay, let me read what it says. It says, down here, it says, using observation from NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope, astronomers report an unprecedented, elongated double helix nebula near the center of our Milky Way galaxy. Okay, it says the part of the nebula the astronomers observed stretches 80 light years in length. The research is published in March 16th issue of the Journal of Nature. Now, down here it says, we see two intertwining strands wrapped around each other in a DNA molecule. The professor, nobody has ever seen anything like that before in the cosmic realm. Most nebulae are either spiral galaxies full of stars or formless amorphous conglomerations of dust and gas, spaceway. So,
it's
why
not,
is DNA
it's not easy to see. Yeah, DNA coming from the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm. And when I first saw that was back in 2006. I said, "Is that our upgrade? Is the upgrade coming? Is the energy coming out the center of the Milky Way galaxy? Or you think just DNA just floats in the cosmos for nothing?"
Well, it's interesting. I've been listening audiobook. I have the hardback book, but I'm just too lazy to read it. Listening to Slave Species of the Gods by Michael Tellinger. Mm-hmm. I listen to it every night for about 15 minutes because I probably sleep after 10, but I turn it on and I roll it back the next day because I know I missed part of it. But he talks about, the fact that somehow as part of our genome, they turn some things off on us. Mm-hmm. That there are abilities that are, they talk about 23andMe, but there are actual abilities like we've been deactivated.
Exactly.
So that there's certain things that he used, for example, the fact that if you, accidentally or purposely chop an earthworm, you're digging in the garden and you chop him in half, it has the ability to regrow itself. Well, if an earthworm could do that, how much more should we, which would seemingly be a higher form of intelligence, be able to do, except for the fact that something has been switched off on the genome. They've done they've switched things off that they didn't want us to be able to, I'm thinking, there was things that says, then they will, know what we know and be like us. Don't let them come up here. Cut when they said, the so-called Tower of Babel could it have been just cutting the DNA strands, disconnecting the strands, because then they'll be like us. Or they'll know, knowing this, that, and the other. So I wonder about things like that.
Yes, because here's the thing. When I'm studying all of these things, I don't just go with like what quantum physicists say, you know what I mean? Because it's science is not absolute fact. You know, these are theories that they have. So even though they're very good educated guesses, but they're still kind of guesses, right? So when I'm studying these things, I try to look for patterns. That's what I always say. The best thing to do is if you find patterns of things, then you can understand things, right? And so what made me know that this quantum realm and what they were talking about where you know, like the Akashic records, and you know, you keep hearing these things where there's some place where you can find all this information and it's just out there, but you know, how do you get to it?
How do you get to it?
But I have listened to people who have taken, do you know what DMT is?
No, is that listen, because I just had some friends I was talking to today who took some shrooms, and they were, we just having a conversation today before we came on, and they one brother, he might even be on, he was going to be on, he said that the other folks that were with him when they did this last week, he said he just knew, like he had questions and that questions were answered in that experience. He knew.
It's like psychedelics is kind of like using a cheat sheet. You know what I'm saying? It's a cheat sheet. It's where you can get there and you get there fast, but it's not as simple. It is, but it isn't. Okay, first of all, let me back up. DMT. DMT is a psychedelic. It's the most unbelievable psychedelic you've ever seen. It's not a psychedelic, but that's what they call it. But I'm going to call it that. But really what it is a plant that allows you to go, what I think of is in the quantum realm, but it's because in the quantum realm, everything is there. Everything is, you know, all the possibilities, everything. And when these people go to have these trips, okay.
Like ayahuasca.
That's what I'm about to say. I'm going to back it up. I said, let me back it up because DMT is a form of ayahuasca. But it's instead of where it's ayahuasca, you take the brew and it, you know, lasts for hours and things of that nature. DMT is a stripped down version of it where you take it and it shoots you off and takes you to the world of, you know,
into your inner being.
Wow. Because what I'm saying is that when I listen to them describe what happens, once again, I said, that sounds like the quantum world. You see, the things that they could, and another thing, this connection that we're all connected. I see all of these patterns because one person can have a trip and come back and say something, and then someone who has nothing else to do with no connection at all will come back and say they saw some of the same things. So I said, well, if they're seeing the same things, you see what I'm saying? There's obviously some connection. And what I'm saying, when you have quantum physics, ancient sciences, psychedelic trips, channelers from other dimensions, all telling you the same thing. You can't dismiss it. You can't dismiss it because they have no reason to agree. You know,
right?
So that's when I started saying, okay, well, maybe there really is. I mean, something for us. I'm interested in quantum physics for us to change everything.
And everything.
Because see, people look at me and they say, oh, Audrey, you know, you're going to make a lot of money, you know, with your pyramids. I say, oh, no, that's not my intention. Not to say, oh, you don't like money. No. See, what you don't understand is I'm thinking bigger than that because my plan, what my mission is to change the world. That ain't got nothing to do with money. See, my mission is bigger than yours.
You're nothing but fiat anyway.
You know, you talk about creature. I get that. But see, mine is bigger than that because I understand what we're capable of. See, I understand that we're putting vibration into a field and it's changing things, you know.
So that would even speak to the 100th monkey syndrome.
Absolutely.
That, you know, if we could just get us all, you know, lined up, you know, instead of just being scattered, you know, I'm trying to do this, you try to do that. But no, we have to all line up. And then at some point it becomes, you know, like everybody gets it.
Yeah. Because see, we have to know that it's possible. You know what I'm saying? As long as people don't think that it's possible, they can't even conceive of even, you know, how would you utilize it. But once it's like if we saw one person fly, Just one person who got off jump, then at some point, everybody's going to start flying. Because once you know that it's possible, that's all you need.
I actually saw a video on Paranormal Call on Tape of a little girl that was flying, and a man came up upon the woman standing there watching her child flying, and it's on video. We saw it. When they saw him, she in the forest, right. Yeah, she came down as soon as they realized she was being filmed, and they ran off.
And see, here's the thing. Because we're in the time of being able to fake so many things, it's hard for people to say, oh, that really happened. But see, if you understand what this is all about, of course that's possible. Of course that's very possible. That little girl, it looked very much like she was flying to me.
It did to me too. It looked like they were startled, and she came right down like, oh, let's get out of here.
Yeah, like he was out there teaching her in the woods where no one could see them.
No one should have seen it.
Came upon them, and she got that little girl out of there.
Yes, she did.
I've met indigo children, who said things that they should not know. Talked about ancient Egypt, had their mother freaked out because she didn't understand what her children were talking about and why were they talking about something that she didn't discuss in her home, And so she came to one of me and my cousin and some of her friends, we have a little round table and we talk about these things or whatever. And she came one day and she was telling us about her children and, what was going on. And I told her they were indigo children. And so she bought 5 of my pyramids. I was just starting out back then because I was telling her about my pyramids. We'll talk about those. But she bought 5 of my pyramids. I was like, oh, I'm so happy, whatever. And so
do you have any pyramids that you want to show before?
Yeah, I got pyramids to show you. Yeah, which time we got?
All right, yeah. All right.
But so she bought my pyramid. So the next day she sent me a text and she was like, Audrey, what have you brought in my house? And I'm like, what do you mean? What have I brought in your house? I'm like, right. And she said, my sons have collected these pyramids and put them around me. So I was like, well, wait a minute. So I called her. I said, wait a minute, what do you say going on? She said that she works nights and she said she was having cramps. So she said she was going to lay down and take a nap before she went to work. So she said when she woke up, her boys who were like, at that time, they were like 4 and 6, really little boys, or 5 and 6, something like that. And she said when she woke up, they had went around the house because she had put the pyramids in different places in the house. She said they had went around the house. They had collected the pyramids. She said they had one pyramid at the top of her head, one at the bottom of her feet, and on either side of her. And she said she woke up and she was like, what are you doing? And she said her son, little youngest son, told her, he says, Ma, lay down. He says, she said he told her, it's not ready yet. Told her it wasn't ready yet. And he pointed at the rose quartz that I have at the top of all of my pyramids. And he said, it's the diamond. This is what this little boy's telling her. It's the diamond. It's going to help you.
My.
You see, what do these little boys know about this? What makes them do that? You see what I'm saying? Because they know. Yeah. She doesn't know, but they know. She
doesn't remember.
Right. But they do. So all of these experiences, it's just been so amazing. So after I had been at Wayne State for, been in the physics department for all of those years, and finally the Alice project had been done and everything, and I learned all of this information. Matter of fact, this was before we had actually finished, because I had learned so much and I knew so much, and I just said, what am I going to do with this knowledge? Because it's just so big, and so how can I use it? Okay, how can I do something with it? So I asked myself, what's missing? In our community, as far as melanated people, we have all these problems, and what's missing. I'm trying to say something is we need an ingredient is missing. And it just came to me and it just said love.
Love? That's why you put rose quartz on everyone.
That's it. And that's what they told me. And I was like, dang, yeah. And it's like all the other things, all the different crystals, which one is the most loving? Because that's the energy that I want to bring into this field. I want to bring more of that because I think You know, when I think of all, you can think of so many horrible things going around on this earth, and you can, you know, really get yourself in a really downer kind of, you know, mood if you start thinking about all of these things that are going wrong. But the one thing I ask myself is, what overcomes fear? Because fear seems to motivate a lot of things. And it came into my mind. I said, a person would never run into a burning building out of fear, but they will run into a burning building out of love.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's got to be the most powerful emotion, because that's the only emotion that will make you forget all about self-preservation, forget all about self, and put yourself in that kind of harm's way without thinking. Fear won't do that, but love will. So I say, there it is. That's what I got to do, you know. And so I just started studying on tapping into energies and things of that nature. And that's when I came upon Organite. I said, oh, somebody else out here thinking too. How can we tap into these energies that are out here for us? It's all out here. We just got to pull them in. And so that's when I started making Organite. And seeing, you know, what happens. And I saw changes and things of that nature. But, you know, Wilhelm Reich, who was the person who, one of the original people who taught us about Organite, I thought to myself, the way that he made Organite was for his time, right? Like in his time, it worked well. But I thought to myself, well, I know if he was still here, he would have evolved that process.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to say, now, how would he, you know, how would you do it now? You know, you do it that, to me, what he did is like, I call like an analog device, right? It's heavy metals, it's, you know, and it does what it does, but it still is, it's like an analog device.
Some of the earlier ones I saw, though, used to be like, look like a whole lot of metal and stuff. It just didn't.
Yeah.
What I've seen now is, so, like you said, so much more sophisticated and elegant. Even it's not only good in what it does, but it's aesthetically pleasing.
Exactly. And I think for me, what got me there is because when I used to research, you know, all of the ancient Egyptian customs and things of that nature, and they said that they would combine their art, their science, and their spirituality. And that's what I wanted to do. And that's what I did with my Audronite. I, you know, combined all of these things. Now, I consider it like ancient future, because my mind is always all in the ancient and in the future at the same time, all the time. So when I created my pyramids, those two worlds came together, you know, when I created them, because they are pyramids. And I'll show you some pictures. Let me see how I can get this. Hope I get this right. Let me see. Okay, well, let me talk about them first, then I'll show you some pictures. So what I did was, first of all, okay, rose quartz crystals are in all of my pyramids, because that's a loving energy for me that we have to have. And then I have metals, because metals conduct energy. They always do it, in especially copper. But one of the main things I add to my pyramid is fiber optics. Now, fiber optics is the future, ancient future part of my pyramids, right? Because in the project, we use lots and lots of fiber optics. And I wasn't familiar with fiber optics before I started working there. And when I first saw them, I didn't understand them, because there was light. I don't know if you're familiar with fiber optics.
With the light running through the tube, yes.
Yes, okay. And the light is the fiber is lit at both ends. And I was so confused by that. I was like, how is this possible? How is this light being here with no light source, no LED, no whatever? So of course, then I would talk to them and I would learn about what these things are. And then I would go and study some more on the internet to get some more in-depth understanding of it. And what they were saying to me is that light flows through fiber optics. So if there's any light, it's going to flow through those fiber optics. Light waves can carry information. So anytime the light is flowing through the fiber optics, it's carrying some sort of information. What information is it going to carry? Well, in my pyramids, the information that I have it carrying is the information from the crystal. Because anytime you put quartz crystals under pressure, they give off an energy called piezoelectricity. Right now, this energy is constantly coming off of this crystal. Now, and I ask people, I say, do you know that all of your electronics have quartz crystals in them? See what I'm saying? They know. See, they know, but we don't know.
Right.
You see, and so as the crystal is giving off its energy, what's because it's under pressure, that energy is being carried at the apex of the pyramid through the light waves that are coming. They're all constantly coming, flowing through, and as they're flowing through, they're carrying the energy of the crystal with them, right? And so that energy, it's like, I say, it's like putting the energy around you on a dialysis machine, cleansing, pulling it, or bad, and you pulling the ends, cleansing it, pulling it out. You see, because quartz crystals are receivers and transmitters of energy.
So do they have to be recharged?
No, it's like constantly on, like
Yeah. Does it like say deflect electromagnetic frequencies? Do they?
Okay. All right. Okay. Because I get into this. I don't want to say. I usually say yes, and the reason why I say yes is because I believe that there's only two types of energy: negative energy and positive energy. And if you say, do you have something for illness? I'm going to say, well, that's just kind of negative energy. So it's transmuting negative energy. So if there's negative energy around, it's going to affect it, right? But I wasn't going to say about this 5G. What I'm saying is that everyone it's always something to be afraid of, and we want to be protected from the electromagnetic. Well, before the electromagnetic, it was something else you wanted to be protected from, and there's something else. You know what I'm saying? So, okay,
it used to be lightning at some point, I believe too.
I mean, okay, what's next? Because then you're going to be protected from 5G, and then guess what? They're going to come up with something else, and then you're like, okay, protection from that. So I'm saying, I don't think in terms of protection. I think in terms of affecting, right? I don't want to protect my energy. What am I protecting it from? I don't want to protect myself from 5G. I want to expand my energy where 5G don't matter to me. That's them. You see what I'm saying? And as long as you are putting all of your intention and focus on them and their 5G and protecting yourself, okay, well, then 5G might affect you.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
So I don't worry about 5G. I don't worry about it because just doesn't affect me. I'm like, but if it affects you, fine. But I'm saying what I'm about is changing. I want to change things. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to protect. I want to change. I want to be proactive, not reactive.
I love this. Yes, this is awesome. And that's the way we ought to be, because you're right. I call, love. Love is more important than anything else.
Yeah. And we just take it on, I say, but if we talk about some hate, boy, we'll be talking about that for hours and hours. But I say love is like, oh God, you want to talk about that? Yeah. Yes, I do. And I want to express that. And I want to show that, and I want to be vulnerable. And I want to let you know whatever you want to know, because that's what I don't want to be like this. I don't want to protect myself.
You're right. Just be open.
I want to open it up and say, here I am. What you want to do? I'm honest. I'm sincere. This is what I want. This is real. And if I go out there and I'm a casualty on the battlefield of trying to bring love to us, then I'm good. Don't worry about me.
It means that's what you signed up to do anyway.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So
just because you forgot the mission doesn't mean you got to change it.
No, exactly. Exactly. And I finally remembered, and I'm saying that I found that when you open yourself up to that, then the universe will once again say, "Oh, you're ready." And it just started bringing you. You said you want love. You say you're putting out love. Oh, well, let me show you love. And I guarantee you, I have gotten so much love coming my way from all over everyone that I contact. I say, thank you very much. I say, but I'm just reflecting you back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I saw Stephanie Amin. Hey, Sister Stephanie. She said, "Oh, Mrs. Speaker, I'm running over to the TV to give you a love hug. That was such a wonderful example you just gave on the power of love. I love you totally." There you go.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you, when you get past all of the layers of, you know, all of this stuff that they put on us to cover up who we really are, you know, and who we are when we show our love for each other, and when we're not afraid, and then we don't care what no one thinks about, you know what I'm saying, what you do. They don't want to see that. They don't want to see that. The powers that be, that's the last thing they want to see. So I said, well, darn it, I'm supposed to be the world that I want to see. So I'm going to be the person. I'm going to be whatever. I want to see more love in the world. So I give it out.
There you go.
You know, because I understand the power within us, and not only do I understand it, I get evidence back. You know, it says, "Yep, you're right." Yeah, you know, and it just comes from you can't even plan it. For instance, like one time I had a problem with my software, downloading my software from Amazon, and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm gonna have to call the customer service. And you know, when you call customer service, you're usually gonna get an Indian, you know, from to call. Yeah. It's like, oh gosh, I'm not gonna be able to, I gotta speak slowly and clearly and all of this stuff. Oh, I'm feeling kind of irritated, but I'm like, okay, I have to call. So I called the call center. Yes, the Indian guy's name is Bob, and I got this problem, this and any other. He's like, okay, I'll help you. So then he said, well, you hold on for a minute. He said, so while he's doing his, research, I know what he's going to do. He's going to start making small talk with me, right? So I don't feel like it. So he's like, oh, so how's your day? So I just told him, I said, listen, I know that's what they tell you to do. I said, but you don't have to make small talk with me right now. I just want to get my stuff together. I said, unless you want to have a real conversation. He said, okay, so fine. Well, I'll have a real conversation. He's like, what do you want to talk about? And I'm like, well, quantum physics. He's like, okay, I know quantum physics. You know quantum physics? He says, yeah. Me and this Indian guy on this phone got into a conversation about quantum physics, about what they learned. He told me that they learned quantum physics in junior high school. Well, I'm like, what? And and we were talking about this energy and how would it change and things of this nature. And we were both so blown away that here I was in Detroit and here he was in India. We have nothing to do with each other, but the energy. We understood each other. We were thinking the same way. So that's why I understand it's bigger than us. It's this collaboration. All of us thinking, not all of us, but most of us, whomever of us, enough of us thinking in that same way, understanding that we can change and we can change everything. Yes,
absolutely. Absolutely. What I was thinking, and you were talking about, you all have a round table, and I was thinking, like, how can I get in on the round table? I don't know. A lot of times you don't have anyone that you could talk to on that level. People are so very superficial, and so whatever they get whatever's in the media, whatever's in the the textbooks, and you got to go beyond that. Just like you got to go beyond the Bible. You got to go beyond all those different. There's other stuff out there, and most of us are too busy dealing with the humdrum day-to-day struggles that we really don't have to go through if we knew who we were,
right?
To be able to think in an expansive mode. Know what I mean? And so I'm always excited to have those kinds, because I get phone calls every day, all day. And every now and then I look up and I've been talking to somebody for 2 hours.
Yes, absolutely.
Those are the times when the universe sends a caller in that we vibe, like you said. The
Yeah.
energy is like the same, and like we're like,
Yes.
yes, you know.
Yes.
I mean, like I called RHIC today to read an email to him and ask a question, and we got off the phone. I said, do you think we've been talking long? He said, not long. Well, I've been listening. I said, you've been talking to me for 2 hours and 36 minutes. This was a short question. But what I'm saying is, you know, it opened up something in him, and then he shared that he said, here's what he said. He said, if I began to share this with the people at large, they would think I was crazy. So he told me, even because he knows I think that way, but that's not why I called him. But it gave him an opportunity to be expansive, and you know, he wasn't down in this little people want to know about UCC ones, and he wants to say, you need to study about that because I don't get into that really, you know. But before he went from there to this big, they would think I was crazy if I tell them what's really important.
Exactly.
And what you're saying is that you can know what's important. We can be a part of this, you know. Somebody taught me this word years ago, equanimous. It was funny. I learned the word equanimous is a balance. And I was at a concert, and I'm trying to think. He's a very well-known singer, and he was like, throw out a word, and he was going to put it in a song. And I had just learned the word equanimous, and I threw it out there at a concert, and he had to talk about her booty was equanimous. He couldn't figure out what to do. But what I'm saying is, I digress. It's just like, but anyway. It's just that you learn things that there's more out there, you know. Right. There's more things than, you know, like I said, and truth is a stranger than fiction or whatever. There's just so many things that we are not privy to because we have we've been pigeonholed by education, which is basically, as Gretchen calls it, animal husbandry. Not to make you an erudite scholar, but to make you, you know, be able to perform. As we don't want that. We need the ability to, like, you have that nebulous universe behind you in your background, you know, to explore the vastness of what there is. Yes. Otherwise, life becomes humdrum. It becomes. I was telling somebody just the other day. I said, I feel like I'm in a fog. I'm coming up out of something, and I'm seeing all this stuff as not important. Because I should be somewhere else doing something grander than this, and it got us majoring in minor stuff. Yeah, and you're talking, you know, change the world, change the universe, explore multiple realities, and they're trying to clip our wings.
Yeah, because this is the most exciting time right now. At this time, those of us that are living right now, we're living in a time of a slice. It's like a slice of time right here. And this slice on this side, you have analog. Okay, that's what we used to deal with, analog. Right. And on this slice, you have digital. And we are the one group of people in this whole entire existence right now who have lived both of these. You see what I'm saying? You see,
and you know what? The Bible. And I have to keep going back to the Bible, y'all. I'm not getting religious. It's just that, you know, I'm not getting, but I remember things pop up. And I was on scripture in the Old Testament talking about this is the generation that seeks thy face, O Jacob. But I always saw that as the generation, not something that happened before, not something that was going to happen later on, but that it was a now comment, and that the generation was not just my age group, but everyone who would be alive at this time, and that we were the generation that had to make the change. Yes. And so, you know what I mean? So it wasn't just, you know, the 60-some-year-olds, but the 60s, the 50s, you know, the hundreds if you're still here. You know, whoever's here, even the babies coming in. These babies coming in with their eyes open, their heads up, looking around. They're coming in like, what? We're ready. We came in. Why?
Because they're born in the digital age and they have a digital mind. They don't know nothing about analog. Coming out the room, they don't know nothing about analog. Their minds is totally focused on the digital. right? Because I used to worry, and that's what I mean about perception, how you perceive things. I used to worry about this, where we're going into this cyberspace, and because I think human touch is so important, that we don't understand this energy that we're always passing, to each other, and it's not always bad energy. Everyone thinks it's bad, but I think it's important for us to have that kind of connection. And I'm like, oh wow, now we're going into this other, digital, and we're not going to be able to, they're just separating us.
Metaverse.
Yeah. So we don't touch each other, things of that nature. We're going to lose that. And then once again, my mind said to me, everything happens for a reason, right? And I said, oh, okay, because this is analog. When we go into digital, that's more of a mind. That's the spiritual. So what I'm saying is that I think that it's time, because okay, you're done with this now. Now it's time for y'all to go to the next level.
Upgrade. It's an upgrade.
And see, and you ain't gonna need, because now it's gonna be telepathy. It was, oh no, we can't do
this. That's what we were there. We're going back to the future.
Ancient future. You see that? See, it's the same thing. You see how we keep going back. We keep going back. So we've done all of this before, and we should know, from the way I know everyone feels this way, when you're speaking and you have so many things you want to say, and as soon as it starts to come out of your mouth, it slows everything down. If you can't speak fast enough to, for what you really have in your head. So that can't be the way that we were really meant to communicate. We were meant to communicate with telepathy. This word thing was a downgrade. You see what I'm saying? It was a downgrade. Like I said, the Tower of Babel. Maybe we were doing it to teleconnect, telepathy. And he's, no, you got to start talking. You need to do it this way. You can't have, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But I'm just saying the possibilities are there. If you think about it, why are women born with 200,000 eggs from birth? Why do you have 200? What was you gonna do with 200,000 eggs?
We're supposed to be here for the longest time, and we're supposed to be producing and doing all that. Everything has been, like I said, downgraded and downplayed and cut off.
Right.
Disconnected.
Yeah. And so there's so many things about ourselves that we don't understand. That's what I'm saying. This is a quantum body. This is not just your mind. Like, your mind doesn't have I can only store so much information in there. You can put as much information in your mind as you want to. There's no limited storage space, because in the quantum world, there is no such thing as space. Everything's just, one thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know what I was saying. Point.
Well, we do want to have you pull up your and I'm pretty sure we're gonna go over a little bit, but it's all right. No, it's all right. We good unless I'm good if you're good.
Oh, I'm good.
I'm enjoying this. So I don't have anybody to talk to like this much. I'm like,
Yes.
Yeah, so
okay, well, let me get some of my pictures. Let me see if I can get. Okay, I'll try. Let me see if I can get this right. I want to put that down, and I have in the new folder. Okay, let me see.
Go up here to this for a minute.
Now I'm gonna go here, and then
let's see.
Let's do this up. Put on my drive. Oh, there we go. Oh, share.
Share. Yeah, you gotta share.
Okay.
Okay, let me do this. Okay, let me add.
Okay, can you see?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so these are some of my pyramids. My pyramids will all have my trademark glowing green light at the top of all my pyramids, and that's how you know it's an ultranite pyramid. And if you'll notice, you'll see the fiber optics going down the four sides of the pyramid. You can see the light coming at the bottom.
Like that, sort of like so that's light.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's light coming down just from there. So
can you make that page any bigger?
Oh, see, for me, it's big as heck. So I don't know.
Okay, well, let me see if I can see when I go bigger. I guess it's as big as it's. Yeah.
It's huge on my screen.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess it could be me. It could be that maybe my page isn't big enough. So,
I know, you know.
I mean, I'll make it a little bigger. So, all right. There. Okay. So, what do you, and so all of them have
yeah, let me see. I'll show you. That's one.
rose quartz at the top.
Yeah. Yeah. This
If they go to your website that I have scrolling at the bottom, they'll be able to.
Yeah,
see.
they'll be able to see. Yeah. And they're just different types. I have different crystals in them sometimes, you know, other than the rose quartz. But the rose quartz will always be, you know, in my pyramids.
Because of love. I love this one here at the bottom. Looks like a being in there. Is it right? The second at the far left, the second row, the first one. I'm trying to think. It looks like.
Okay. What is it? So what am I? So you're not seeing me seeing these individually. Are you?
No. I see a whole list. I see 2, 3 rows. One, and then one at the bottom.
Okay, so I'm just going through this little slideshow, so I'm not sure how to do this.
You can pull them up individually.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at them now. I'm looking at.
I see a whole row, 2 rows, and then one on the last third row by itself.
Yeah, well, see, that's because I don't quite know what I'm doing. Like here, this is what you see. You see me pointing at this pyramid?
Nope. Well, I don't.
Well, it tells me that I'm sharing.
You are sharing, and we do see your screen, but it's just a whole row of pyramids. Like about 3, 6. It's 9 on each row, and then it's one on the.
Well, that was gonna be my screen show. My screen, the slide. What do you call it? Slideshow, and I thought I was showing you. But so this is my first time trying to do some type of presentation. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get better at it. But yeah, unfortunately I don't know what I'm doing with
somebody said to tell you to press control and the plus sign. I don't know what that's gonna do.
Oh, that's gonna make it bigger. Okay, yeah, let's see how big we can make it.
Oh, it didn't change for me. I don't know. But you can really see them because I saw them really good on your website.
Yes, you can. Oh, heck, I'm just totally.
Somebody says that you're sharing your folder, not the file in the folder. Whatever that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm really. Where am I? Let me get back to where I'm supposed to.
Listen, y'all. Go to audreyknight.com.
Or go to my Instagram.
Which is it at Audrey Knight?
Let me stop.
IG.
No, let me stop. I'm trying to get back to where I'm.
Go to the website and get yourself a pyramid. I got to figure out what I want, what I need. Look, so I can put it at the head of my bed or foot of my bed or something like that. But
yeah, I have. Okay, let me get rid of all of this. Just get rid of.
So what I want to get back to is that why they're doing what they're doing has a lot to do with who we are.
Absolutely. And it's for me, it's almost like a race, them on their end and us on our end. It's like, are we gonna wake up before they get to where I don't know what the things that they're planning are. I don't know for sure, but all I know, there's a lot of dark things going on this earth. And the only reason why I don't get depressed about it or worried about it is because I know for every yin there is a yang. So if it's that much negativity, then there's another side that is that much positivity. And that's where I'm going to go for. I'm not going to focus on the negativity because I know it's there. No one doesn't have to tell me, how much negativity there is in this world. I understand that. But now I'm saying, so what can I do? Because I can't out evil these people. I cannot out evil them.
But you can out love.
Bet you I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can make an effect in that they hate. Because that's not what they want me to do. They want me to stay angry. They want me to stay in fear. They want me to stay confused. They want me to stay, and all of these things where I can't settle and really see what's going on. You see, and once you do, it's like, oh, you don't control me. I don't worry about you. You got 5G. All they're going to do is like, yeah. Because understand this. People are leaving this earth every day and they got a darn thing to do with 5G or COVID. But guess what? And before COVID and before 5G, people were still living this earth. Their end of the world has already happened.
Well, and then, I've heard others saying things about, knowing how to leave without getting stuck in the loop.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, there's so many different theories about that. And I say, I'm not going to worry about that. I can think about it and what if and things of that nature, but I don't let those things, questions bother me because I know I'm here for a reason, because all of the things that the universe has put into my path, all the things that come into my way, is not by accident. The synchronicity just off the chart with numbers all up to today. What is now is sequential numbers everywhere. Everywhere. What is this about? But I just say, okay, well, it's just, let me know. Okay, we're gonna continue on this journey, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. That's what all the signs are telling me.
Well, that's amazing. This has been to me very exciting. You got me. We're gonna talk offline, not tonight, but we're gonna. But I'm sure we're gonna talk again, because this is just I just want to get in the think tank and just put my 2 cents in and hear the 98 cents from everybody else. I just want to. I know that this is a fascinating subject for me, and I'm always. I feel like when you say, do you remember how far back you can remember? And my mom used to tell me how I was not even quite a year old or something, how I used to stand up in the crib and wake up every time the American Bandstand would come on and be holding, with the and first I didn't remember, and then I started getting glimpses of myself standing up this little playpen thing, with wooden thing, and holding on, and I saw the black and white TV and all this stuff. It came back.
It came back. That's right. And you can't believe how young you were.
Right. I mean, I was holding on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'll be 67 next month, so that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
It probably not. It might have been just a parallel time.
Exactly. There are just so many different areas, that we could really talk. We just scratching the surface right now. It's just
you will come back. You will come back. You will.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we can talk about melanin. I love talking about that, and that's another very, very, very interesting subject that I think we don't even know about ourselves.
Yeah, and I know Kevin Behringer, who I've had on quite a few times. He has the melanin research book, because it's that much. He didn't write the book, but it's all of the research that they've done. It's so important that
How they're using it for space travel now, because they're saying they can use melanin to protect you from radiation.
Oh my gosh! So where are they getting the melanin from?
Oh, isn't that good? I tell you, we gotta talk about this time.
Look, where is the melanin coming from for space exploration?
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Where are melanated people going? We're going into space, y'all. It's not the way you thought.
Like I said, if you're bored in this day and age, I feel sorry for you, really, because you surely are missing out. You're missing out on the very, very exciting times.
Let me see. I'm looking to see if there's any, closing comments. I don't know if you. say, hey, what about the Mandela effect?
Oh, we didn't even get to the Mandela effect, did we? I'll say this. I believe that we're experiencing the Mandela effect because of the things that they're doing at CERN and the things that they're doing with the D-Wave computers, because it's not that Google has one, CERN has one, so if you can imagine, once we start going into those realms of forbidden, areas of existence, like what is everything made of? We're really getting down into the substance of who we are. And I think when we go there, things happen that we don't expect. And I think it's very possible that there's been some overlap in parallel existences. And that's why some of us are experiencing one thing and others are experiencing something else. So I do think it has something to do with the parallel universes that exist.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, and the way I understand how the term Mandela effect came was about because of some people remembering or recalling that Nelson Mandela died while in prison, while others could clearly remember him coming out and dying after. I was in the dying after he got released.
Right.
But there are some people a lot of people who were in a universe where he actually died in prison. And so they used that and they termed it the Mandela effect. But there are other, they talk about who was on the box of Wheaties or whatever versus.
Or Dwight Eisenhower being on the dime, that I know he was on the dime and they're telling me he never have ever been on the dime. It's always been who is it? Roosevelt. I'm like, Roosevelt? Or telling me that a skunk has 2 stripes and I know a skunk only has 1 stripe down his back. Or telling me the Australia is up there. Don't get me started. We get
there are different things. So some people remember we're in from one track, where others, in a totally different.
My mind really messed up for a while. I would wake up like, what? Where am I? I mean, it tripped me out. Even where we are in the solar system, like I said, we
I used to say to people, like, lately over the last few years, like, where in heaven are you trying to get to? Because if the pictures that they show us are correct, we're just floating around in the heavens anyway. So where are you trying to go? You're already in orbit. So what now? What you just want to be like those astronauts floating in space because you're already in space?
I mean, what's funny is not only are we in the orbiting space, we're actually moving through space.
Wow.
We're actually moving through space all
unaware.
It's just like being on an airplane. You know, you don't feel
Speaking
like
of airplanes, did you hear that a lot of the airplane rides that people take, particularly the ones they going overseas and stuff, it's the distance between here and there is so much shorter, but they just take you in circles or have you going in ways that make you feel like you had to fly for 18 hours, but you could have probably gotten there in 6. So this is another version of the Truman story and some other things that are very similar. That talk, that have us living in something that we think is real, but that's an illusion. Exactly. And so when we get that, and so here we are. David Wilcox's latest book was Awakening in the Dream, and that's what we're doing. We're awakening in the dream.
Awakening in the dream. That's right.
Awakening in the dream. Don't hear that?
In the dream. Yeah.
Some folks are still dreaming.
Yeah.
But some of us are awakening in the midst of the dream. And now the question is, what are we going to do with our awakeness? What are we going to do? Because we're sitting there, we're floating out here, and we're looking around, and we're feeling like we are. Some of us get depressed and so forth but they're asleep, y'all. They're still asleep. So dreamers normally are asleep at some point, but there is a possibility to dream awake.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, we do it all the time.
And we're awakening in the dream, and we got to, when it's people like yourself, that we need to be able to tap into, the fact that you were put in place. Those that, you don't go from. I was thinking, you don't go from being a secretary to being involved in a something like the CERN.
Yeah, right.
Unless that's, you said, look, I'm gonna blow their minds, because I'm gonna start out and typing and stuff, and I'm gonna end up doing something on. I mean, everybody, so many people heard of CERN, and then for us to meet, a melanated sister like yourself who didn't even have a quantum physics background and was selected to not, to be an administrator, and then to have that spur you into even creating what I'm believing the universe gave you, those healing pyramids, and and the knowledge you have. It is amazing. I salute you.
Thank you.
I just, and I know things like that can happen. So you got to be, I'm an example. I took a job as an office manager, and it came in at one end and left out as the director of a department of real estate and housing, and didn't even know anything about housing. I never went to school for that. My doctorate is in theology, and here I left at the top of another department, and only the universe does that, and only your purpose, the purpose that you sign up for.
That's right.
And then forget, and that's the thing. You forget. Came here for, but some people like yourself remember.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to you, Audrey Rumbers, for remembering. And I'm sure my audience is too. We are so grateful. And you are going to go to her website, and everybody's going to get their pyramids.
Yes. We got to change the world one pyramid at a time, one green light at a time. Yep, that's the way we do it.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I appreciate you. I thank you. And hey, I guess it's time for us to go.
Okay.
We're gonna talk.
Thank you.
We're absolutely gonna talk, and I thank you so much, because I have so many questions. For you.
And maybe I'll get my presentation together next time we do it. I'll be better at it by then.
No, this has been amazing. What y'all say? Come on, I need y'all to some of you have already been saying it, but we need to big up our sister, because she really, we have a representative at that level where I didn't know that we had anyone. And I thank the brother that recommended you. Yes,
absolutely.
I do apologize, brother, because I forget your appellation, but thank you. Much gratitude for coming on the show. And this is absolutely, this is amazing. And listen, share this video, get this video out there. Folks need to hear what was said, and know, please return with more. She'll be back. I'll get her back. Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I don't know what. Okay. Okay. I see this question mark. MW asked, where are the homeless? And put a whole bunch of question marks. And I guess that might go back to where the melanin's coming from for the space. I can only think that maybe that has something to do with when we were talking about where they're getting it from. Yeah. But anyway.
Okay.
Thank you. And we're going out. I'm trying to figure this out. I appreciate, the fact that you have so much knowledge. This is so exciting for me. I'm just a sucker for knowledge.
Yes, we should be. Yes, go to the ledge.
Okay, well, listen, we're gonna get you back soon, and we're gonna do a part 2.
All right, then. I look forward to it.
Thank you so very much. And we're about to go out here. Y'all, you know how I end it. I end it with my chokeberry commercial, because the chokeberry is almost sold out again. I thank you all who have been purchasing your chokeberry. We're selling me out or buying me out, and I really appreciate that. But thank you so much. Until next week, is Dr. G, and appreciate you all as usual. Appreciate you. Fantastic show.
Dr. G here, just checking to see if you've ordered your Chokeberry Plus. What? You don't know what Chokeberry Plus is? Oh my. It is an amazing berry that has the highest ORAC level of most berries known to man. Actually, it's a step higher than elderberry, and is much higher than berries such as noni, goji, and mangosteen. What is chokeberry, you ask? Well, chokeberry is an antiviral. It's antioxidant and it's an immune system boosting berry. It also provides support and balance for the blood pressure, the blood sugar, and cholesterol. Yeah, in one little dose that you would take a day that's very pleasant tasting, like a glass of fine wine, you are going to provide yourself with a lot of protection, especially in these times that we're living in. Like I said, it's antiviral, antioxidant, and anti-inflammatory, among the balanced support that it provides for the blood sugar, the blood pressure, and the cholesterol. You want to know how you can get yours? Sure. Just text CB3L to 302-345-0500, and we'll shoot you out an order link. You want to get yours today, especially these times we're living in. We need some added support and protection. So I highly recommend Chokeberry Plus. And let me say this. Chokeberry Plus, and the chokeberry is also what's known as the aronia berry, but all of the chokeberry products out there are not created equal. We've got probably the best tasting, and you'll feel it the moment it hits your taste buds, and it actually does some things as soon as it hits your mouth. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's going to be good for you, good for your family. You can get a 60 serving 3-liter box shipped out within 2 to 3 days, and it'll come by priority mail insured. So again, text CB3L to 302-345-0500 and get your chokeberry today. Peace.
Dr. G.